morning, everyone. It is October 1st, 2024. I'm Gene, and welcome to Hanging with Uncle. I hope you have your morning of get up. Because today I want to talk about the presidential debate that's happening today between Governor Tim Walz and J.D. Vance. So, the first thing that I would like to talk about is what is the role of the vice president? Because when our Constitution was drafted, we didn't have a vice president. Okay, so when they combined the tickets back in the, I'm going to say the 1780s, somewhere around that area, they had to define what the role of the vice president was going to be. So, under Article 2 of the Constitution, the role of the vice president, number one, is to serve in case the president is incapacitated, and two, to be the president of the Senate. That's the duties of the vice president. The vice president has nothing to do with setting policy, with passing legislation. They serve at the will of the president, who is at the top of the ticket, and together the policies that administration has for domestic and foreign issues is just basically, another voice of the president, like any ambassador would be, or the Secretary of State. So the vice presidential role is pretty much ceremonious, So, for example, President Biden tasked Vice President Harris to go to the, I think it's called the Golden Triangle, Nicaragua, Guatemala, and Honduras, and curb the activity there to mitigate the amount of people wanting to flee those countries and come to the United States for asylum or refugee status. She was not the border czar. There is no border czar, nor constitutionally is that the duties of the vice president. Again, stop giving the vice president more authority than he or she has. Okay, Kamala Harris was not the border czar. But what I want to look at today is the accusations that J.D. Vance, the vice presidential candidate for Cadet Bone Spurs, is going to accuse Vice President Harris of. I've heard comments not just about cat ladies and things, but where he gets his point of views, which are crazy, from this guy named Yarvin. I can't remember what his first name is, but Vance publicly cites him as that being his inspiration or motivation to adopt the policies that he wants to see happen here in the United States. For example, he wants to fire and get rid of all government employees. That is ridiculous. That's our military. The United States Department of Defense has the largest amount of employees, but if J.D. Vance gets his way from what he's talking about, those people would be gone. All right? If he talks about defunding stuff, number one, that's just a red herring. It's an acorn falling off the tree so Chicken Little can say the sky is falling. None of that is true. All right. So when I look at Tim Walz as governor of Minnesota, that's an executive position. Governor, Secretary of State, Attorney General. Those are all the executive branches of your state legislation. And that's where Tim Walz sits at the top of his state in Minnesota. So he has executive experience where J.D. Vance does not. As a first-term senator, and I know that a lot of people out there are going to say, oh, Barack Obama was a first-term senator. Yeah, but he was also a state senator and served in the Illinois State House, something J.D. Vance does not have any experience with. So, again, that's kind of like what I want to see. I want to see the nonsense that's going to come out of J.D. Vance's mouth, giving the vice president more authority than they have. I want to see the stupidity of J.D. Vance talking about getting rid of government employees. And if he promotes this nonsensical idea from Yarvin to get rid, and I've heard Vance say this, get rid of all educational, secondary educational institutions like colleges and universities. Because again, they want to ban books. They don't want to teach you, the reality of what life is and how it works and what our laws are. So he's running on a platform of, hey, let's get rid of that. Let's have anarchy and put a dictator in office. And I'm not being hyperbolic. Watch for yourself and see. I would love to know your opinions. But again, the duties of the President of the Senate are just there to cast tie-breaking votes, which you'll hear Governor Walz probably talk about the votes that Vice President Harris has cast as President of the Senate to pass legislation and get it through. So we can have things like the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act, so on and so on and so on. You can look for yourself. Just go look at her voting record as President of the Senate. It's right there. You can go to Open Secrets, and everything is there. So don't be an ostrich and stick your head in the sand and deny what's going on around you. The information is there. Look it up. But anyway, I don't want to ramble. The vice presidential debate really is inconsequential in the grand scheme of things unless both candidates talk about how they view their role as President of the Senate and what they would do in the event the president becomes incapacitated. That is the only responsibilities under the Constitution of the United States that the vice president has. It ought to be interesting. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button and like button, and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss whenever we go live and put new content out there. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Please leave them in the comments section below. And see what happens tonight. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Be safe, everyone. Be kind to one another. And treat each other the way you want to be treated. I'm Gene, and thank you for hanging with Uncle.